Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. You click on this video because you are interested in Champions Meeting. But before we start, I want to address some things. Champions Meeting is essentially endgame content for Uma Choices. We will get monthly Champions Meeting. Treat this as a celebration for your playstyle. Doesn't matter you are a casual player, you're a meta slave, or you try hard to win with your wife, and everybody should enjoy the game. Because joining this very first Champions Meeting on Global, I saw a lot of negative message towards meta users, and a lot of casual players are complaining about people giving them correct advice, such as learning right shift, such as hitting minimum stamina requirement. So just be nice to everyone when it comes to Champions Meeting discussion. Since Go is very last server to be released, every single Champions Meeting to date are all being studied to death by every other server. So what we can do is essentially give you the best UMA, the meta stuff for you to build. As a result of this, there's not that much theory crafting, but as the nature of my video styles, I will always go over detailed theory for tracks and how we end up choosing skills and how we end up picking UMAs. In general, a lot of conclusions for any Champions Meeting videos will be very similar because they are all based on information that's already well known in other server. There's nothing wrong with people saving up their time and picking meta UMAs. It's the easiest way to train them. And since you already experienced the very first Champion Meeting yourself, luck will always play a role during Champion Meeting. The key is to build a consistent, strong team. So today's video is divided roughly into the 6 parts. I will add timestamp to descriptions so you can skip certain parts that you do not want to watch. Of course, we start with very basic theory, track analysis. Then based on those results, we will talk about skill recommendation. After that, we'll be talking a little bit on your Uma choices. So we will analyze Uma run style first. Then we'll be talking about Ace, Uma choice, and debuffers. And finally, with all the Uma choice explained, we can start here crafting some team compositions. Let's start with an overview of the upcoming Gemini Cup. For any Champions Meeting side games, they will post a picture of the corresponding Champion Meeting on social media. So this is very important because we will gain a lot of information just from the picture alone. So Gemini Cup features the longest racetrack for G1 race in a career mode. The ground of the racetrack is for the Tenno Shield Spring. And the first thing should jump out to you is this length. So this length is extremely long. This means stamina becomes the most important stats for Gemini Cup. Picture is very important for any other upcoming Champions Meeting because it will tell us the location, the ground type, the distance type, the direction type, season, weather, and ground condition for the track. All those stuff are very important for Champions Meeting because it determines our useful green skills. So even before we start analyzing the actual track itself, we can come up with the conclusion for good green skill choice. We have the following green skill choice. For stamina, adding green skills will lower your stamina requirement. So for this case, we have both standard distance and the Kyoto race course. These will decrease your stamina requirement. Speed is the second most important stats for this Champion Meeting. And we have the following skill such as right-handed sprint runner and long wolf. For this particular CM, based on a lot of other people's experience, either in CN or in Japan, the number of people actually running long wolf is quite small. So always put a long wolf on one of your ace. For power, we have firm condition, and for guts, we have sunny days. Let's go into those skills in a little bit more details. We all know green skill provides extra bonus, and they can lower your stats requirements for the Champions Meeting. The key thing here is every single version of any green skill provides 40 stats, and double version of any green skill provides 60 stats. You only learn double circle version of any green skill unless there's no other better skills to learn. So in this case, again, speed and stamina green skills have higher priorities for longer distance tracks. Besides those bonus stats, green skills are very often for both team trials and Champions Meeting used as triggers for groundwork. This is an important skill for Champions Meeting. For front runners, it helps them to get first place. And very often in certain Champion Meetings, there will be a lack of front runners due to either distance type or just not suitable tracks. We will be in an environment of pace tracers, later surger, and end closers. In this type of race, without a front runner, there's a thing called Lucky Tracer, and the groundwork can help you achieve Lucky Tracer as a very strong results for being the first pace tracer in lobby without a front runner. Same as every other skills, green skills can often be learned through sportcast skill hints, or your UMA have them already, but very often you can pick up hints for the desired green skill by winning great race with the corresponding conditions. This is something to keep in your mind when you train for both Legacy Umas and Ace Umas for Champions Meeting. For certain Umas, you have more freedoms in your career choice. Typical example is Gemini Cup, and a lot of people already trained her for current Champions Meeting. And due to her freedom of choice of grade 1 race in senior year, you should orientate your choice for Taurus Cup, for example, more towards any Tokyo-based tracks and standard distance length tracks. Let's now jump to track analyst. Any future track analyst for Champions Meeting, I will be using this diagram, and this diagram is taken from Uma Later. You can literally just Google Uma Later, or you can go to the website here. It's very powerful tool. It allows you to compare two Umas through simulation, but my main use for this track for today is to look at the actual track diagrams being presented here to you. Now, this track diagram has many parts, but we really want to focus is the middle three parts. The bottom just divides your race into the 24 sections that we've been talking about earlier in our theory videos. And the top one just gives a general side view of the track. How high did the track go? Where are the uphills and the downhills? What's in the middle three are the more important ones. While the top one actually marks out the uphill and downhill section of the track, the middle part of the diagram here tells you which part of the track is straight or which part of them are corners, and the one underneath it tells us which part of the track is open leg, mid leg, final leg, and last sprint, corresponds to phase 0, 1, 2, 3, as you're going to see in my other videos. So the most important part of track is the start of final leg. This is the heart of any track analyst videos. The first thing we'll be looking at is the start of final leg. The reason for this is the target speed for every Uma. It varies for different leg. Receive a bonus from your speed starts as soon as they enter the final leg. It's like driving when you suddenly enter a zone with higher speed limit. So in order to reach this speed limit as fast as possible, what would you do when you're driving? You add more gas to it. So you want to press your accelerator. In terms of Uma with Shumei, this means acceleration boost skills are vital. The final leg starts on second last corner, a little bit before the final corner. This made right shift very good and essential for winning a race due to easy activation condition and strong bonus acceleration. And in addition, let's pump some iron and shooting for victory are also helpful. So you can see how they came up with those skill choice for Taurus Cup. But for Gemini Cup, our condition is a little bit more different. Our final leg starts at second last straight, so it's this blue straight here, and it's on uphill. Now, at the current state of the game, there are not that many good acceleration skills for this section. We have two choices. One of them is Highlander, but for Gemini Cup, in general, Highlander will be wasted. Why? Highlander activates upon any uphill. Keep that in mind. And we have multiple uphill here. Very likely Highlander skill will activate during this first uphill. I will talk about this a bit later, but this is generally will be wasted because your Uma already finished their acceleration and reached their target speed for open leg. So Highlander is very bad in this cup in general. This brings us to the next choice, straightaway spurt and encroaching shadow. This is absolutely meta-defining and essential skill for end closer Umas. Yes, and this means Ghost Ship will be top choice for this champion meeting as the first one. This is our skill choice for end closer, and this make end closer extremely strong. Next thing we highlight is uphills. As we mentioned before, there are multiple uphills throughout this track. Acceleration for Umas are reduced when going uphill. This means acceleration period, notice for this, when you enter the final leg, we enter this acceleration period zone, they will last much longer compared to other tracks. Not only because we have an uphill section going on, moreover, our acceleration skill durations are much shorter this time. Straight away spawn and encroaching shadow. So I colored the normal version one in pink and the upgraded version in red here. What you get is 0.2 or 0.4 meter per second square acceleration, and this lasts for 0.9 seconds. For right shift, again, the pink one is for inherited version and the red one is for Maruzunski herself. So you can see the duration is much shorter in comparison to Japanese derby. Our acceleration skill durations are much shorter this time. This means our acceleration period for Gemini Cup is extremely long. What does this mean? It means if we enter this final leg, it takes us way longer to actually reach the target speed for your Umas. If any of skills increase your target speed, if they are activated during this extremely long window of acceleration, they will be wasted because your Uma never reach the original target speed. Never to mention the bonus extra speed, she will never reach it. So this is another thing that kicks in our mind when pick extra skills. This is also another reason that makes a lot of uniques actually not that good in this champions meeting, which makes and closer way strong, because straightaway mount and encroaching shadow, they are pretty much the only choice for consistent, great game-winning acceleration skills. Let's now look at the other section of the race and try to simulate what happens in the race. Let's now focus on the opening leg. So during the open leg or phase 0, let's last from 0 to 533 meters. At the start of the race, green skills and start delay time skills activates. So those are your passive skills or your concentration or focus skills that will activate. Now, if you activate at least 3 of them, groundwork will poke. It will help you to achieve either lucky tracer or front runners. On our first uphill sections, any uphill based skills will trigger, such as Highlander and the 1,500,000 cc or 15 million cc level activates. Highlander is usually wasted as Uma already finished their acceleration, reached their own target speed. So their any acceleration wouldn't help if your Uma is already running at a target speed. The later might be more helpful, but later surgery in general is very bad compared to end closer or pace tracer. Our first downhill is very small section here. It's only roughly 2 meters. It's between 476 to 478 meters. Skills such as after school strolls or go home specialist and straight descent determined descent activates. Now, the former is very useful. It's a recovery skill. If it poke here, it's very nice. It wouldn't get wasted since the race is already going for a while. The later is, I think it's a target speed increase skill from right shell. This is generally will get wasted due to position keeping. If position keeping is in action, suppose your Uma is running as number 1. If the number 1 Uma is start running at higher speed, the distance between her and the second Uma increases. This will make the second Uma going into pace up or overtake mode. They try to speed up. So this thing actually doesn't do too much. If this skill is activated on Uma that's on either late pace or end closer when there's a front running Uma there, they need to stay back in the pack. So this target speed increase doesn't really actually help. So the most important skill for open leg is this recovery skill that's available for Ghost Ship, and any green skill that activates to trigger groundwork for your front runner or lucky tracer. Let's now move to the second part of the race, the middle leg. So middle leg lasts from 533 meters to 2,133 meters. One thing to keep in mind is position keeping ends at 1,333 meters. So it ends at this second straight. You may notice here there are 2 corner marks here labeling 3 and 4. Those corners are actually not the first corner you will encounter in this race, because those corners are being counted as third and fourth corner as you enter the final lap. So the corner skill actually will not activate during those 2 corners. They will activate right after this second straight. Now this is very important. All the Umas already exit position keeping after this straight. This means any bonus target speed corner skills will give maximum return. What do I mean by this? These skills will make your Uma run faster. And after position keeping, your Umas are no longer holding back. They are no longer respecting their position towards the front runner. What they are doing right now is they will position themselves better according to their speed. If your Uma is running faster, they will choose a nicer pass, tends to choose a nicer pass, because the AI of this game is a bit funny. This is why Ghost Ship's unique activates. This is why in general Ghost Ship is very good in a lot of race, because her unique pokes after position keeping ends, and it allows her to reach a highest target speed, and she has chance to either go to an outside pass that's unlikely to get blocked. Now, other corner skills will trigger here, such as swimming ratio, and other corner skills such as run style based corners, distance based corners, so long corners will poke here. They are very, very good. Moreover, if you poke 3 of those, it will trigger for tail head high. Again, it will help your Uma to achieve a higher speed and probably a better position. What about straight skills? Unfortunately, any straight skill, they will just trigger randomly on the 4th straight that's available on the track. Straightway skills for this champions meeting, they are way less consistent compared to corner-based skills because of our corner skill pops after position keeping. So that's our second conclusion that we can reach after analyzing middle leg. Now let's move to the last 2 legs, final leg and last sprint. Now, first section, as we talked before, is a straight and it's uphill. Straightaway sprint and uncrouching shadow will active layer. It's our game-winning skills. If the skill activates as soon as it enters this part, it's absolutely amazing. right? If it's activated a bit later, it's less effective because our speed is closer towards the target speed. When entering the third corner but not last corner, final leg corner skills will activate. Do not mix final leg and last mount, okay? So final leg skills, they will activate. Some example is like on your left, let's pump some iron. This will activate on corners if the phase of game is greater or equal to 2, which is final leg and last mount. And when we enter corner 4, this is your final corner, so final corner skills will activate, such as the duty of dignity call, behold thy empire's divine might. And last part of your track is a long straight. Now, when you enter those long straight, final straight skill will activate, such as tail skill or grease skill, they will activate. Or grease skill is not final straight skill, but last 200 meters is within this final straight. So this is generally what's happening in a race, excluding all the debuffers or you getting blocked. Now, with those in our mind, we can move to yellow skill recommendations. For target speed increase skills, as we talked before, corner skills will have higher priorities compared to straightaway skills. In particular, for corner skills, distance-based and run-style-based skills have higher priority compared to general skills. Some of you may know this because general skills such as corner adept, professor of curvature, they are very easy to access because of Kitasan Black, but their duration is shorter in comparison to long corners and closer corners. This means long corners and closer corners will have higher priorities than corner adept and professor of curvature. This similar priority can be applied to any straightaway skills, but straightaway skills are less consistent here. If you really want to learn, if you have like extra points to spend by the end, you should go for long straight skills and closer straightaways. For acceleration skills, there's only 2 quotation mark effective skill here. First one we talked about before, we have straightaway spurt and we have uncrouching shadow. The later you can find on Tyson. The other skill I strongly recommended is the resplendent right ace. This is unique on Scarlet only. I will talk about this in more detail later for Uma recommendation, but this is extremely strong skill. If triggered properly on Scarlet, she can often outrun a lot of end closers. Now, since this track is extremely long, we usually need to learn 2 to 3 gold blue skills. Here is a list of all useful blue skills. Again, corner-based blue skills has highest priority here. Corner recovery or swing mixture from Silver Creek is very, very important for this track. It's a common skill that can be easily accessed by any Uma. Almost every single Uma you want to run in this race as ace will carry this skill. Next, we have 2 skills that have easy access by Pace Tracer, either Gourmand or Race Planner. Both of them can be found from certain Pace Tracer's potential. Gourmand can be easily accessed if you have the special week speed support card. The next skill after it's very easy access for Go Strip is the Go Home Specialist. This is another reason why she is very good for this track. She has easy access to one very consistent recovery skill, and when we train for long distance, Silver Creek is usually brained. So your Go Strip will already have 2 good Go skill here. The 4 other skill I include here, they should have lower priorities compared to the 4 Go skill we mentioned before. The main reason for this is they are less consistent. You can have a look at those skill conditions by themselves, but in general they have lower priorities. One skill I want to mention is called Stamina Eater. It's a blue recovery skill in disguise of right skill. The amount of stamina it drains from your enemy is half the amount of the usual right skill. But you can treat this as a normal blue skill, so it recovers 1.5% of your maximum HP for your Uma. A lot of you will be finding hint for this when you train your ace, because you are highly likely end up using Manhattan Cafe SR card. If this skill is very cheap, do pick it up, and it counts as a blue normal recovery skill. So in general, you want to 2 to 3 gold recovery skill, or you can do 2 gold recovery skill plus 1 to 2 normal blue skills. So that's the blue skill recommendation. Top ones has the highest priority. Lower ones, have a look at their condition yourself. They are less consistent compared to the blue skills above. Let's now move to Uma choice. The first thing I want to talk about is actually run styles. For this particular champions meeting, I do not recommend using any ace Uma, I should say, with the following run style. Front runners is horrible in this champions meeting. The 2 biggest reasons for this is front runner has the worst target speed multiplier during last spurt. The problem for Gemini Cup is our last spurt consists of this extremely long final straight. If we are assuming every single Uma will be able to reach their target speed on this final straight, your front runners will have the worst target speed multiplier due to the run style. And since this straight lasts very long, you will lose a lot of distance over just this final straight. The other main reason for front runners being bad is they don't have great access to gold recovery skills. And it's usually pace tracers has the best access to loads. The only case you might use front runner, as we will discuss later, is to use them as debuffer, and they will prevent lucky tracer. For later surgers, the biggest reason is they don't have good gold recovery skill for the run style, and even as debuffers, they are significantly worse in comparison to front runners, especially in longer distance tracks. Right skills that based on field of view is much less effective because your debuffer tends to have lower stats compared to aces. If any of the right skill is field of view based, there won't be any ace running in your field of view towards the end, towards the last two legs of the race. And very often, if you want to train ace later surgers, I just recommend you modify them to end closer for this champions meeting. Similar to Taurus Cup, the two run styles they are great for Gemini is Pace Tracer and End Closer. Pace Tracer, as we mentioned before, they have great access to gold recovery skill, either from their own potential levels or through special weak speed card. Lucky Tracer in race without any front runner is very strong. The End Closers is the only run style that can access to our meta-defining skill, Straightaway Spurt or Uncouching Shadow. They are very strong in the final leg due to their last spurt target speed multiplier is being high. So these are the two. In current meta, we just don't have that many good two-run style. We can move to our Ace Uma choice. Once again, due to extremely long distance, for Gemini Cup, our Ace Uma needs to reach high stamina, 1100 plus, or around 1100 should be good. And you need to have good access to 2 to 3 gold recovery skills. They also need to be able to learn good winning skill, either their own uniques or from sport card, or from inheriting certain sparks. They also need to be fit into team and perform with power setup. Besides all loads, another thing I wish more people take into account is how easy can they be raced throughout the career, and how easy can we actually reach loads extremely high stats. So based on these reasoning, I came up with this list for myself. So this is my personal Ace Uma tier list. So it's divided into two axes. So the stronger Uma and easier to train Uma will tend towards top left. The stronger Uma, harder to train, will tend towards top right. At the bottom, you have weaker Umas. So this is a general picture. And every single Uma here, I will assume is a 3-star. Now on this chart, you will see letter writing on right bottom corner for every single Uma here. They are the run style. If the color is in green, it's natural run style they can run in. If it's in red, that means you need to spark modify them. And I will now start talking about most of the Uma here one by one and explain why they are a good choice. So our first obvious choice is Ghost Ship. So welcome to Taurus Cup 2.0. There are so many great reasons to pick Ghost Ship. In my opinion, she is the strongest end closer for Gemini. A lot of you already upgrade her to 3-star through Ghost Ship's Golden Week event. On top of that, as we mentioned before, she has easy access to additional gold recovery skill as end closer. A lot of other end closers will end up using much weaker choice of recovery skill, but Ghost Ship have go home specialist. This skill is extremely consistent as we discussed earlier. She has excellent training growth rate for the career, 20% stamina, 10% power. Both are extremely useful in this champions meeting. And as mentioned before, her unique skill is excellent because it triggers after position keeping and help her navigate to a better path and less likely to get boxed. So she's extremely easy to train and she's extremely strong. And she also has access to a straight line spurt. She will be my first choice if I'm to build a team. Next we have Narita Tyson. She's strongest Uma on paper because she has the access to Uncouching Shadow, which is the upgraded version of our game-winning abilities. But there are a lot of problems when it comes to Tyson. First, in current meta, Guts is extremely bad, and 20% of her training growth rate went into Guts. This is essentially, you can treat them as useless. Her unique skill is not strong as Ghost Ship, because her unique activates at the final corner when overtaking. Now, if Uncouching Shadow already decides the game for you, if she's running too fast, her unique won't be able to activate, right? So her unique skill is usually wasted throughout a good race. By a good race is she activates Uncouching Shadow and she's in a good position, but she's lacking her own unique skill. Because her unique skill is not like Ghost Ship's unique, she can get boxed easily. On top of this, her career is harder in general due to her career events. And lastly, her potential level unlocks Sleeping Lion as her additional blue recovery skill, gold recovery skill besides Swim make sure you pick up from Silver Creek. But this Sleeping Lion can be nuked by Dark Aurora struts. I will talk about this a bit later. So she's very strong on paper, but she's extremely difficult to train. But of course, if you can train an insane Narita Tyson, she's extremely strong. Now let's move to some good page tracer choices. We have two very good page tracer choices. They are McQueen and Scarlet. Those two page tracers, they have very two different styles. For Majora McQueen, think of her as very consistent, decent performance page tracer. So for any page tracer, they all have easy access to gold recovery skill. McQueen's training growth rate is very good, 20% on stamina. And for champions meeting or team trials, in general PvP events, you want to have a good amount of wisdom. 10% on wisdom is actually quite good here. Her biggest advantage for me is her unique is very consistent. It's not that powerful compared to some other Uma's unique, but it's very consistent to trigger. And herself, she already has spring runners, and I also think she has long corner as well. So correct me if I'm wrong. So she already have a lot of good skills that can be used for this Gemini Cup. And overall, she is very consistent as page tracer, so she is a very good choice. The other choice for page tracer is Daiwa Scarlet. Same as any page tracer, she has great access to gold recovery skills. Scarlet's unique skill is probably the strongest unique skill in Gemini Cup. The only catch to this is it needs to activate at the right window. If she has a perfect unique activation, she can often outrun end closers, but this requires setup. Her unique skill requires her to be in the last half of the race, so when the race is 50% done already, she needs to be at the first position, and the distance between her and the second Uma need to be longer than one horse distance, which is 2.5 meters. So this requires setup. Last 50% of the race can literally be anywhere. If her skill pops too early, you're not getting anything out of it. If her skill pops too late, you are not getting anything out of it. Her unique ability is strongly dependent on how you set up race and what's your opponent doing. So there's a huge gambling risk in here. You are risking a lot here for a very insane skill. So this is what I meant by McQueen and Scarlet have very two different styles. One is very consistent, slightly weaker. The other one is extremely strong, but is less reliable. So those are our top 4 ace Uma choice. What about other Umas that I include in picture? If you don't have 2 end closer, or if you don't have any of them, one thing you can do is modify other Uma to be end closer. Those Umas, those 4 on the slides right now, their unique abilities can help you win a race. Another problem with other end closers, in general, they don't have good second gold recovery skill. You might need to rely on cooldown. That's been given by the main story Majora McQueen stamina card as a hint to chain events. And if you need to modify any of those as your end closers, you need to spend 1 to 3 right sparks to improve them as end closer. The reason to improve Special Week as end closer is if you want to run a page tracer, you can use Ogre Cup, right? That's our choice. And end closer or even end closer Ogre Cup would be stronger than page tracer Ogre or page tracer Special Week in this particular champions meeting. These are the potential choice for other end closers if you don't have Ghost Ship or if you don't have Tyson. What about other page tracers? The 4 Umas on your screen, they should be your very last choice. A lot of you might be confused why these Uma will be last choice. A lot of Uma here, they have great access to recovery skills. Their unique can be recovery skills, right? Both Super Creek and Tachyons, they both have good unique as recovery skills. The Anime Club, Tail, or Greek Cup, they all have good access to recovery skill to their potentials. Now, we mentioned the Lucky Pacer earlier. If you run any page tracer, your goal is to set them up as Lucky Pacer. If any of Tachyon and Super Creek end up going first, their unique ability will not trigger. It just won't trigger. Look up their condition. They won't trigger if they are in first. So their unique ability is actually getting wasted. Even if they are not first, even if they activate their unique abilities, you are losing a potential strong speed-based or acceleration-based unique ability over a blue gold recovery skill that can be found through different sports card. So that's the main problem. The problem with Ogre Cup and Tail is final straight 200 meters, Ogre Cup's ability will partially get wasted. Tail's ability is just very hard to trigger. So these in general should be your very last choice if you don't have any other better Uma to pick up, or you find the other Uma that I mentioned that are very hard to train. So these are my personal recommendation for the race. So let's now look at the chart again. In theory, Goldship, Scarlet, Tyson, they can be all strong in the same level, but Scarlet has the gambling factor in it. Tyson can get blocked. Scarlet is slightly lower compared to the other two that has more consistent potential. McQueen is slightly behind of the other three. She's very consistent, but her ceiling is not as high as the other three, okay? All the modified and closers, they are generally difficult in terms of career because we are spending some right sparks into run style modification. This means you are missing right sparks for long distance while you try to farm for a long distance as aptitude. All the race pace tracers, they are very easy to race due to easier career due to good training growth rate, but their unique it's either hard to activate or get wasted. And any recovery unique skill for Super Quick and Tachion, if you want to win them as ace, right, it will get wasted if they are both lucky tracers. So that's my personal Ace Uma tier list, and that's my personal choice here. Let's now talk about debuffers. Before we start, you already see Air Groove here. I want to clear up some very often misunderstood concept in community. We do not slap every single right skills on a debuffer. Most times you will pick debuffers to target specific enemy, but moreover, those debuffers needs to be able to fit in your team. If you think about the current champions meeting, everyone is running Evil Nature and some of the other medium debuffers such as Grass Wonder, such as Ludolf, such as Hachion, because they can be used in medium, but move towards longer distance. As we mentioned before, field of view debuffer becomes much weaker. They are out of our choice, they are out of equation. We won't be picking up them anymore. Depends on what you want to do with your team. I will recommend two debuffers. The first one I would recommend is Air Groove, okay? So the reason to pick her is she has low aptitude in both long and front runner. She will be used as a front runner debuffer here, okay? Now, the reason to do this is she has both low aptitude in long and front. Now, long affect target speed, so her speed will be low. So if your front runner debuffer speed is low, it will slow down other runners due to position keeping early on in the game. Front runner aptitude, any run style aptitude, they will impact on your wisdom during the race. This wisdom is used to calculate downhill acceleration, stuff like that. Okay, downhill acceleration. And if your downhill acceleration is low, she will remain slow as well early on. So this makes her a great choice for front runner debuffers. Moreover, during this champions meeting and closers, as mentioned before, they are extremely strong. Air Groove has 2 and closers debuff skill from her potential. Let's make her extremely good choice if you want to run a debuffer. Moreover, frontrunner debuffer completely nukes lucky places. As long as a race that has a frontrunner, none of the pace tracers will become a lucky pacer. Now, here's the key thing, okay? You can build either low speed or high speed Air Groove. It depends on your team comp. So let me explain this. So low speed Air Groove. A lot of people will be running Dawai Scarlet as pace tracer. And her unique, so I mentioned before, but the detail of her unique activation is this. The race needs to be in late half, 50% of the race left. She is currently number 1, she's first, and she's at least 1 horse length, 2.5 meters ahead of the second Uma. Suppose we want to completely nuke this ability. What do we need to do? We need to make Scarlet activate this unique ability way before we enter in the final leg. This is why low speed frontrunner Air Groove comes in. She will fall behind Scarlet at the mid race, making Scarlet's unique ability activates way earlier before final leg. Why does this happen? Because, as we see before, position keeping ends before mid race. If position keeping ends, due to low speed Air Groove has, she will naturally force back towards the end of the pack, so the other Umas will be catching up. If enemy's Scarlet is strong, she'll be running first. Then after she overtakes her by 2.5 meters, she'll waste her out. Now to do this, you still need to hit enough stamina and wisdom, and she needs to be first until position keeping ends. So our main reason to use low speed Air Groove is counter Dawai Scarlet, make her unique activates early. In addition, she also has 2 and closer abilities that you can try to target for Ghost Ship and Tyson, okay? Now what about high speed Air Groove? So high speed Air Groove is completely the opposite. She is used to set up your own Dawai Scarlet's unique ability. To do this, you need to improve her front run aptitude to A and long aptitude to D at least. And you want to reach enough stamina and wisdom so she can actually run properly and allow Scarlet to overtake her at the start of final leg, uphill 3 section of the race. So this is completely opposite to low speed air groove. High speed air groove sets up your Scarlet for perfect unique ability trigger. Now, in addition to Scarlet, some of you might end up putting Mayano Top Gun's wedding that's coming up soon. Similarly, she can also be used to set up for that unique ability as well, the Top Gun's unique ability as well. The other Uma is, for Debuffer, is Dark Aurora. A lot of you already seen Aurora earlier during the current Champions meeting. The main purpose for her is as frontrunners it block off pace tracers and it mess up the position keeping mechanics early game. Different to current champion meeting, in Gemini, the main use of Aurora is her low aptitude in both long and tough make her fall behind all other Umas. This will nuke Sleeping Lion gold recovery skill on Tyson. It's not a position percentage based, it's a distance based skills, so this will completely nuke these skills. Should you run Aurora as front runner? It completely depends on your team's composition, okay? If you are running her as front runner, you completely block off any lucky paces. If you are running any pace tracer shots, do not run her as Dark Aurora, okay? So run her as any other styles if you want to run a pace tracer as your ace. And again, learn debuffing skills that do not depend on field of view and mainly focus on either pace tracer and closer, or both if you're lucky to pick up all of them. So these are my Debuffer Uma choice recommendations for you. We also have other Debuffer Umas that you might already be familiar in current Champions meeting. All of them are completely horrible. I would just say that straight out loud. As mentioned before, field of view based debuff skills are bad for long distance. Median debuffer skills such as Terror cannot be activated since we are on a longer distance track. A lot of them will just completely brick, and very often they do very horrible. So these are your very last choice if you ever decide to run a debuffer. So with ace choice and debuffer choice out of the way, let's talk about team composition. Those are the possible theoretical team composition one can come up with. I think the strongest one is the 2 and closer 1 pace tracer. The best setup here is the Ghost Ship, Tyson, and Majora McQueen. This is triple ace competition. All 3 of them have good chance to win a race. Majora McQueen will be very strong if she is a lucky pacer. The other 2 and closer always have a chance to catch up, as long as they are not boxed, as long as their key abilities trigger off. One could replace McQueen with Scarlet, but in this competition, Scarlet is much weaker compared to McQueen because nobody on your team is setting up Scarlet for the perfect ultimate. This is totally dependent on your opponent right now. Now the next setup can be 1 and closer 1 front debuffer and 1 pace tracer. So the first one we'll be using is the double ace team with a high speed air groove to set up your Scarlet. So in this competition, you block off any lucky paces and you set up your own Scarlet, and your Ghost Ship is acting as a second ace that has chance to win as well. Similarly, as I mentioned before, if you are running air groove, you can pretty much set up out for both Scarlet and Mayano Top Gun wedding, and both of them can be your ace in this team. So this is like your double ace team. Of course, you can also run a different debuffer as we mentioned earlier, but with different ace choice. And you'll be running air groove here, and she will be a low speed air groove here. She will have chance to nuke Scarlet's unique, and your other 2 Umas shouldn't be impacted at all as end closers here. Or you can run as Aurora here as your front debuffer, completely mess up Tyson. So you run Aurora if you don't have Tyson, or you just want to use Aurora as front runners. Your Ghost Ship will be able to overtake, and you're adding another end closer that's being spark modified. And of course, you can also try a single ace. In this case, it's a little bit extreme. We are putting all our money on Ghost Ship to actually win a race for you, and we'll be running a front runner air groove with low speed to nuke enemies Scarlet, and your Aurora will be running with other run style in this case. So those run styles, and you will learn debuff skills based on her run style to target other Umas on opponent's team. So these are all my personal team composition, and I'm still on the stage of farming Legacy Grandparents, and I actually do not know which team I might end up running. I personally really like these 2 teams. They're both very interesting to me, and I do want to run them. There's also chance of any funny spark modification one can try to do. Compared to a lot of other Champions meeting, that's not that much great. Come to Uma Choices, it's still very interesting in general. Lastly, this is a personal stats recommendation. So for 3 type of Umas. For Ace Uma, try to work your way up. The first stats here is very low. If your Uma is with list stats plus 2 gold recovery skill, I think it's borderlining the limits for Group B. And if you want to run in the Great League, just try to improve your stats a little bit more. Find the correct sport card, etc. Try to work your way up if you want to run in Group A funnel. The last stats here, if you get anyone run this or above it, I think it's very safe to qualify for Group A finals. The last 2 stats is for low speed debuffer or high speed debuffer. Low speed debuffer, speed is usually around 600, stamina 650-ish, power guts in general you don't care, okay? But wisdom is high as possible. Everything here is just enough for you to finish your career first. For high speed debuffers, you need at least 800 plus. Stamina, power, they need to be 600 plus at least. Guts will be higher. And again, for wisdoms, you need to be as high as possible for any debuffers. So that's the very first video on Gemini Cup. I will be making some videos on Ace Uma guys and Debuffer Uma guys for their careers. The style of those videos would be very similar to my Team Trial Uma videos. So if you are interested in those, just wait for them. I don't know how long it will take me to make those videos. As I mentioned before, I'm currently still farming my legacy Umas, and of course Gemini Cup is still quite far away. If you can't wait for me to make those videos, go try to look for any other content creators channel. A lot of good content creators that are making content on Champions Meeting. So that's everything from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, have a nice day and happy Uma training. I'll see you next time.